wonderful morning. This morning here on Prime Morning, it's time for us to get into our next conversation. It's News Flash. It is proudly brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise. Store phones, Papa Pafie. The best of phones, you can get them when you make your way to Franco Trading Enterprise. If you're looking forward to getting your new television, your air conditioners, your fridges, and also your microwave and blenders, you can get them from Franco Trading Enterprise. The best place you can always get the very best of quality. And so make your way there and download the app. Is the Franco Trading app on Google Play Store. You can visit our website. It's www.francotrading.com, and that's where you can also get all the updates that you need in terms of the numbers you can call us on. And also, please do not pick numbers on social media to do business with us. Always make sure that you get the numbers from our website or our app, and you're good to go. Franco Trading Enterprise says so. Phones, Papa Pafie, the best of quality. Check into any of our branches. We've got some very serious, discounts we're giving out there. You want to take advantage of that as well, and also make sure that you get your, beautiful things that you want to get from Franco Trading Enterprise. Franco Trading Enterprise says still, phones, Papa Pafie. We're streaming live on Facebook. Our WhatsApp line is active. You can send your messages to us and let us know what you think about our topics we're looking at this morning. The Speaker of Parliament is saying that he will ensure that the bill for the LGBTQ is passed into law before his tenure in office. We're going to be looking at that conversation here on the show, and setting up Tamaklo Atuno is also supposed to be heading back to Ghana after being sentenced in absentia for 10 years. We're hoping that, that conversation also intrigue you a bit. You can send your messages and let us know what you think about that also here on the show. And, we'll be looking at the front pages of the newspapers this morning. My guests have joined me here in studio, so I'm going to do the newspapers real quick, and then I introduce my guests to you this morning, and then we'll get into the conversation, the major conversations where you can also send your messages and let us know what you think about them. Daily Graphic is here this morning. It says Ghana to honor American astronaut Christina Koch after Artemis 2 moon mission. You remember that she was here at the University of Ghana, Legon, and she did some exchange program over there. And so the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, also sent a special message to her when they made their way to the moon, and they're back safely. And so, yes, the celebrations continue, and Ghana is in the picture, adding our voice to it because she's somewhat, made her way here in this country a couple of years back. So, yes, congratulations to the team, and we're hoping that this expedition, if you like, would open doors for many things that will be yet discovered when it comes to the moon. And away from that, Vice President launches Infantipim at 150. That's captured by the Daily Graphic this morning. Government ponders Parkinson's on NHIS. Stakeholders advocate stronger policies for disease care. And away from that, government clears $25 million debt to Swami Interchange contractor. Republic Bank urges local enterprises to scale up, and Sedina Ationu heads home. A U.S. court orders extradition. And that's the Daily Graphic this morning, one of the issues that we're looking at here on the show. The Chronicle this morning is reporting on some issues and says government pays $25 million to contractors to accelerate work on the Swami Interchange project, and a Methodist Church dissents on Mahama over anti-gay bill comment. We'll look at that also here on the show. And Ochiman strips a Tresson of a traditional title. And away from that, pay cocoa farmers, not party executives. Minority says so. The Chronicle is reporting on that as well. And away from that, the Ghanaian publisher says Heath Goldfields, puts Ghana Trafigura on edge, and Dr. Lawrence Tete's hypocrisy exposed. That's captured by the Ghanaian publisher. And Jadek CEO accused of favoritism, and Ochiman strips a Tresson of title. That's the Ghanaian publisher this morning. Away from that, the Graphic Business is here, and it says meet President Mahama's Fiscal Council members, and petroleum revenue governance crisis threaten investor confidence. PX says so. Government weighs fuel tax cuts. OPEC flags 1.71 cedi 70 pence West Ghana as relief to consumers. That's also captured by the Graphic Business. And Ghana Health faces costly handover. A late coach Beach Rescue, Ghana's World Cup campaign, and that's also captured by the Ghana business, graphic business this morning. All right, so you can grab a copy of that and then read all about it. So that pretty much will sum up the newspapers this morning here on the show. But let's get into the conversation proper and speak to the issue of the Speaker of Parliament, who has been speaking on the issue of LGBTQ. The President mentioned that it is not our priority now as a country. The spokesperson for the President also indicated that the President has stated clearly that that is not one of the things that as a country we need to be prioritizing. And well, the Speaker believes otherwise. We also have the Minister of Communications also speak, strongly on this very issue. Honorable Sam George has also spoken about the fact that he believes that it's a priority for Ghana to actually pass this bill into law in making sure that the issue of LGBTQ is put to rest once and for all. The Speaker has assured that, there were processes when there were some attempts, in the previous administration to make sure that this bill is passed into law. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. And he mentioned that the President at the time could have done that, but he didn't do it. But as it stands now, he would ensure that before he leaves his office, this bill is passed into law. We're going to be looking at that here on the show. And the issue of Sedina Tamaklo is also one of the issues we are looking at. The U.S. court has ordered the extradition of her to come back home. So yes, we'll look at that. But joining me this morning here in studio, I've got Richard Suma. He's the Deputy General Secretary, United Party. Richard, good to see you. Good morning, my brother.
Good morning. Good to see you too, my brother.
I hope you're good.
Yeah, very well.
Had a great weekend?
Yeah, very well.
Awesome.
Very well.
Awesome. And it's the Easter holidays.
Yeah.
I'm sure you did have a good time as well.
Yeah, so I spent the Easter holidays in Jekiti, Akwamu Jekiti.
Jekiti?
Yes.
Oh, I've seen that name somewhere.
Yeah,
I haven't been a visit yet.
That is, Nanan Sankwao.
Yep.
Sankwao.
They had a celebration over there.
Nanan Sankwao is from Adumasa.
Yep. From the chief of Adumasa.
The chief of Adumasa.
Yeah.
So after Adumasa, you get to Jekiti.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I see. Interesting.
If you want to see the magnificent voter lake, the sight and sound of it, you really get to Jekiti. Yes. Yeah, so that's where I had my Easter holiday.
How come I've never made a trip there with Explore? I think we should.
Very nice place. Very nice place. The magnificent Volta Lake is there. It's there for you to go and see.
Awesome. Anyway, I'm grateful for your time this morning. Also joining us this morning here on the show, Kwame Prempeh is here with us, the former Deputy CEO of NPP, joining us this morning. I hope you're good, my brother. Good to see you.
I'm doing very well, my brother.
And you had a good Easter weekend as well.
Yeah, I spent it in Accra, but it was a good weekend with family and friends and church. So yeah, it was a good weekend.
Great. I'm grateful for your time this morning as well. And Metal Nunu Jr. is here with me, communications team member for the NDC. Metal, I hope you're good.
I'm good, KMJ.
Yeah. How is work?
Oh, everything is going well. Everything is going well. The Easter, I see that you enjoyed very well.
Yes, they threw me to Gomwa.
Alpha and Kwu, I was jealous of the people in Gomwa.
Oh.
Kwu, we had to attend the business forum.
Yep.
We're there. But I was monitoring the things you're doing there, the way you came to model on stage and everything. I was following, and I wish
I didn't have a choice.
I wish. No, but you're good at what you do.
No, but A+ did a good job there. He's going to promote things like that. It boosts economic activities within that jurisdiction. So I think it's a good thing. We need to commend him for such a laudable move.
People are still talking about it.
Yes, he did a very good job.
Yeah,
he did a very good job.
I want to see all the other, MPs also doing their own thing. I mean, shaping it the way.
You see, that's the kind of leadership I like.
It's not a competition. I don't think it's supposed to.
That's the kind of leadership I like from our members of parliament or our politicians. It's not just what is written in the books.
Yeah.
There are so many other things that you can do to attract investors to your place. How many people would have traveled to Gomwa if not for the events that was held over there? Some people get there and have ideas of going to farming and have ideas of going to other kind of businesses. So we must commend the member of parliament and the way you're able to rally the youth, you're able to bring top celebrities around, how the program was moderated and everything. It was top notch.
That was the first time in history over 30 artists, in a constituency.
A+ is part of the industry, so obviously they will definitely come in their numbers. Unlike other MPs who are going to, some will come to as a form of support. But if it's another politician who is organizing, you definitely have to pay. But A+ was a musician before he became a politician, so you would expect that. And it was a good job. It was a good thing.
Anyway.
This morning coming, I from yesterday, I was very sad. You know the happenings in Kajano, the South La Estates, the Osude, the demolition exercise that's happened over there. Over hundreds of households have been brought down. Not from government, but
an individual.
Yes, an individual. He's got the documentation that he has to demolish the properties.
To put what there?
But then I'm saying that if you're resetting Ghana, we need to reset Ghana in its entirety. The old ways of demolition of houses, even though you have a court order to do, you must add a human face. You must go and interact with them. Even though sometimes you give notice, people might think that you might not come. You see this time around, people have their television sets, their fridges, and everything, their beds in there, and then the demolition exercise was going on until senior government officials had to call in, and then the process had to be halted to give them extension of another 21 days. The municipal chief executive said he was not aware, the member of parliament said he was not aware, the police commander there too says they were not aware. But these things must not happen. People are suffering, so you must not add on to some of these flights. You must add the human face. So I sympathize with the people who
So this should go to your party then?
It goes to all leadership. It goes to all leadership. And in fact, the technocrats, you see, we are practicing a decentralized system. The technocrats within those various municipal and district assemblies who sit and allow for these structures to come up must also start being held accountable. So it's not only about the politicians. Everybody is involved. We sit down, and people who are being paid with taxpayers' money to ensure some of these things don't happen. They sit down. Sometimes they even go and take money from them. And then later, why should the people who have only erected the houses suffer? Everybody must suffer. Even those authorities in charge who start for these things to come up must also suffer. So it's not only the politicians, everybody, and especially the technocrats who are in charge to make sure some of these things don't happen. They have town and country planning in almost municipality and district assembly in Ghana here. Why do we have some of these things happening? Why must the poor people who have put up their houses be the only ones to suffer and will leave the technocrats like that? No, it must not happen.
Very well. And I think one of my interviews that I did with A+, he spoke about this issue, and he mentioned that if you were actually supposed to be a president in this country, the very first thing he would do is arresting people like the ones that you're mentioning. Whoever made it possible for anybody to even build in that place in the first place, for those buildings to be, pulled down. Why would anybody want to do that? Why would people give permits to people to be doing things at places that they're not supposed to be doing them? Whether it's for any individual or if it's for a government, whatever it is, there are certain places people should not build houses there. There are certain places people should not put up kiosks and all of those things there. If those things are happening, they go a long way to affect all of us. I'm not saying because of this, issue that you've brought up, but I think it's been a very long standing issue in this country where we just allow people to do anything they want to do, and then when we finish, we do these things, we break them down at the detriment of the ordinary Ghanaian.
Yes.
When the one who actually made the permit possible is sitting down there and still sitting in an office and taking money.
Yes.
You get what I mean? Yeah. And I think we've grown as a country in some of these things.
KMD, decide today to go into some corner to put up even a storeroom.
Yeah.
They will come and write stop work, police permits by whatever. So they cannot tell me that they are not aware that these structures...
Yeah, but these things, yes. Some of them too...
They are aware.
People go and pay. When they pay, they allow them to do...
So why must the ordinary Ghanaians...
So it's the people sitting in the office, people like you, people like the politicians. They are the reason.
My brother, let me
come in.
I think this is here.
Yeah.
I think we have to look at this problem holistically.
Yeah.
Right. The person building also knows that where they are building is also not.
I agree.
So those that are building must also take.
But if we enforce it, they won't do it.
I agree with you totally. You see, the issue we have here sometimes, like I said, we have to look at it holistically. Yeah. It's from the person building, it's from those giving the permit, it's from those who are monitoring.
Yep.
So it cuts across the entire society.
Yeah.
We must start to have the conversation of where we want to go as a country. Because you go to certain areas and you see the structures that are put there, you know that these structures are not fit for purpose.
At all.
These structures are supposed to be there. But yet, it happens. Yeah. Because the entire society, allows it to happen. So yes, I agree that politicians must take responsibility. Politicians must ensure that these things do not happen. But also the citizens must also take responsibility for these things. And the public servant, the civil servant, it cuts across. Look at what happened with the structure that, that fell in Newtown a couple of weeks ago. This is something that was
lost lives
since 2012, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Everybody there have seen this structure there. Everybody, including the MP, including the MCs. from 2012. So all the subsequent MCs have seen the structure there. And per the narrative of those that live there, that building had been declared not fit for purpose since 2012. Yet nothing was done about it. So for me, I think these kind of things, you have to look at it holistically. Yes, sometimes you have to put human face to it. I mean, the demolition that happened in Kaswa is also very disturbing, where the traders, some have been there for 20 years and so, but they were not there legally, and yet they were just, cleared off. So yes, we must put, human face to these kind of things. But I think we have to do it holistically to prevent it from happening in the future. In the first place, in the future. And everybody must take their responsibility when it comes to this.
I totally agree with you. Anyway, thanks a lot. Richard, let's delve into our very first topic. I'll start off with you. The issue of LGBTQ. Everybody seemed to be worried about this. In fact, even before elections, this was one of the issues the speaker even mentioned. That one of the issues why Ghanaians voted the NPP out of office was because of this issue. And repeating that now is something that will be a bit, of a deceit to the people of Ghana, because that was one of the promises that the president made before he was voted into office. What do you make of that?
Well, first of all, let me use this noble platform to extend good morning to my fellow colleagues and to the entire Ghanaian populace that are watching it this morning, and to your entire production team, to the entire leadership of the United Party, which, as we speak today, most of our regional offices are set. We will start inaugurating them one after the other, because we are building a political party that can stand the test of time. We don't just want to add to the numbers. And I will also want to say a good morning to Nana Yadobia Sikapa, the Queen Mother of Akwemu Jekiti, this morning. Well, as a matter of fact, Ghana, as we always say, we always intend to do the right thing. But somehow, our hands are tied. We may try to dilly-dally around it to claim that, our hands are not tied. There are no external factors that are influencing our inability to at least move this bill, let it go through the parliamentary process, get approved, get presidential ascension, let it become a law, let it be a law that will bite hard enough to deter others from indulging in such barbaric practice. We've not been able to confront it head on because it is a hydra-headed situation where we all know that, yes, there are influencers, people who are really contributing to economic growth of Africa. And some of these influencers, like the West, are having an entrenched position in how we do things in Africa. Therefore, they've made it a conscious effort to ensure that any government across the globe, or especially in Africa, they'll propose this idea to you that don't ever try to curtail issues of LGBTQ, because it is a human right issue. In as much as we believe it's a human right issue, we all believe again that God created us, and He created us male and female from the very inception of life. Therefore, we have two faces or two legs of every society: the moral aspect of society, and then the security, safety aspect of society. And the moral aspect of society, when built and built well, can have a positive, lasting effect on the other leg. Because you see, it is morality that will guide you to understand that this is a crime, don't commit it. It is morality that will guide you that this is a state property, take good care of it. It is morality that will rebrand your conscience, that will remodify your thinking pattern, and allow you to understand that these are the do's, these are the don'ts. So if we play any politics with the moral fiber of this society called Ghana, then we are getting it completely wrong. And it might become very chaotic in the future, that we will not be able to make amends for whatever decisions we take today. I keep saying, for the last time I said, both of us sitting on this panel today, when back then, the JB Dankwas, the Akwajes, the Kwame Prempeh and co, when they were fighting to gain us independence, none of us seated in this table were around. We weren't around. Generations have come, generations have gone. Today it is our turn. So we should be mindful of the fact that another generation is coming. The seeds we sow today is what they will come and reap from it. So it is incumbent upon us, this generation, to ensure that we let the next ones come in, that LGBTQ, same-sex marriage, man sleeping with animal, woman sleeping with animal. Today you can wake up and say I'm a man. Tomorrow in the morning you say I'm a woman. These things are not going to be entertained. I think it's in the right direction. Now, we can admit that politics was part of this whole thing. And we had the opportunity to nip this in the bud the first time when the bill went through Parliament, got passed, and supposed to be transferred to what? The president. The president then, through the executive secretary, wrote to Parliament that the bill, don't even bring it to the Jubilee House at all. Let it remain with you in Parliament because there is an injunction on it. And we all know in this country that there are also precedents that suggest that there were issues that had interlocutory injunctions placed on it, but yet still the president went ahead and passed those bills, especially when it comes to the implementation of the e-levy. Therefore, there is sufficient precedent to say that yes, if this bill has come to your table and your job is just to append your signature to make it a law, and you turn it down, when you turn it down, what was the rationale behind it? And what was the sufficient justification? The only justification given to us was that somebody has taken the issue to court in relation to what? Human rights. But if the president then had really meant it well, he would have signed it immediately. In as much as some of us, we have issues with some aspects of the law, especially the incarceration aspect of the law, I am totally against it. If you want to incarcerate people for practicing same-sex and all, then we should build an entire prison system for them. We build an entire prison system for them and lock them up individually. But if you put two LGBTQ practitioners in one same cell, what are you expecting the following day? What would you be expecting? I can't even fathom it. So the idea is that if you want to incarcerate them, then build separate prisons and make sure that you never have two of them in any room. That is the only way you can be able to win this fight and try to recondition their mindset to understand that no matter how you feel, no matter how your hormones are telling you that I am feeling horny, I'm feeling like I'm supposed to be a woman. When you have genitals, how can you then become a woman? So, if the Speaker of Parliament is assuring us today that as we speak today, the bill has already been submitted to Parliament, has already been reintroduced to Parliament. It was reintroduced to Parliament again as a private member bill. Remember, the president made it publicly that he would have loved this bill to be a government-sponsored what? Bill. So that doesn't make it like a private member bill. But I still also support private member bills because we need to encourage certain so that we can have a lot of bills mooted in Parliament which are private-driven, not only coming from what? Government. Yeah. So now, the bill already gone through the first reading. I think that was done somewhere around 17th of February. And now it has been submitted to the Legal and Constitutional Affairs Committee of Parliament to take a further look at it. Then now Parliament is on recess. So our belief is that when they reconvene in their next parliamentary sitting, this issue will become a top-notch priority. A top-notch priority so that we can fast-track it. It shouldn't be a bill that will be debated over and over for the next 24 months. Because don't forget, by 2028, we are getting into election. Therefore, if you are not able to do that between now and the early part of 2027, the chances are that other important issues will come and cloud the entire ecosystem, and we might move the LGBTQ thing to file 13. But as a matter of urgency, let that bill be passed.
If that happens, do you think that it has the potential of affecting the government?
If they don't pass it, it will affect them because it was one of the major trump cards they played. LGBTQ thing, 24-hour economy. They played another one on the taxes and all those things, which for the taxes and code, they've been able to work on it. Okay? They've been able to stabilize the economy relatively better than as they came to inherit it. Because ever since they took office, the dollar is still hovering around 11.10. It has never escalated beyond 13 cedis as we speak today. Therefore, there is some prudent management that is being introduced, which has brought us this level of stability. So as a matter of fact, if they are able to pass this bill and the president assent his signature to it, it will be one of his major legacies that he will leave for us as a country, because we cannot allow the moral fiber of the society to be broken. Because today, they told us that statement that I think I would like to differ a little bit from the president and ask him that we beg him. That comment that he made, that the citizens now LGBTQ thing is no longer our priority. Perhaps he got it wrong. I'm sure the president that he is, if he do introspection of the statement he made, he would have admitted that he got it wrong. Regardless of the argument NDC is putting across that the bill has not gotten to his table, but he is the head of NDC. Are you getting my point? So if you are the head of NDC and you have the majority in parliament, you can always call your majority leaders to order or call your caucus to order and say, moot this bill and it will be done immediately in your name. Are you getting the point?
Yeah.
But this conversation that it is no longer our priority, we are prioritizing road, hospitals and so forth. The question that will beg for an answer is that during the SWA administration, that NDC was so vociferous on top of their voice, they were creating an impression that this LGBTQ, our life actually depended on it. Where the last administration not constructing roads when they were still championing this issue of LGBT, they were constructing roads. They were building schools. They were doing all the basic things that has to be done as a country. But yet again, NDC thought it was prudent for them to mount sufficient pressure on government to make sure they pass that bill into a law, which never happened. But if we turn around to say that, oh, it is no longer our priority, then that means you are shifting the narrative. You are shifting the narrative. You are becoming someone who is setting a double standard. Because if it was important to us then when you were in your position, the same way it is important to us now when we are in government.
Okay.
So we will only admonish them to fast track the process so that we can come to the logical conclusion of this issue once and for all. But like I said, let us take a critical look at the incarceration and aspects of the bill, because we must get it right. If not so, you are trying to solve a problem, but you'll be moving from frying pan to fire.
End up creating another problem anyway. Kwame Prempeh, let me take your...
yes, thank you, my brother. I mean, for me, this issue, we have to look at it well. And the main problem is how NDC handled issues when they were in opposition. Now, there is no single person in NPP that is in favor of LGBTQ. Let's get that fact straight. The former president is not in favor.
The former president himself?
Yes, himself is not in favor of it. The vice president then, who's now our flag bearer, is not in favor of it. You know, nobody in NPP, you know, as a conservative party, as a center-right party, it is against our, you know, beliefs, it's against our ideology. So nobody in NPP is in favor of it. Right. Now, there were challenges when the bill, you know, was passed in Parliament and it was not assented to. I mean, that one has been discussed.
Yeah.
Right. But the issue that we are discussing now, you know, basically is the hypocrisy of the NDC. You know, is the double standards of the NDC, as my brother was alluding to. You know, and this is cutting across almost everything that we have in this country. So every policy, every issue that we have, they said something else in opposition, and they are saying something different. I mean, we can look at Cocoa. We can look at Galamsey. Now, Galamsey seems to not be a priority, where not long ago, a couple of years ago, 2 years or so ago, we have NDC members sitting on TV saying if the president wants, they can, you know, he can stop Galamsey in a matter of weeks. You know, Sam George even went further to say, with the, you know, the security agency that we have here, if we are serious and we get them to work, we can solve Galamsey within a couple of months. You know, it's said on record. Yet here we are, you know, 1.5 years after they came to power, Galamsey has worsened.
The argument would be that they have done way better than you did in terms of
how it has worsened. Galamsey has worsened. Now you go to certain constituencies, even behind schools, there are Galamsey. Even behind assembly offices, there are Galamsey going on. It has worsened, you know, under their watch. And it's the same thing that they are doing when it comes to, you know,
LGBTQ.
Right? Single source, the same thing. You know, the private jet saga. We can go on and on, on and on, and on. So basically, the NDC was a different party when they were in opposition, and they are now seems to be a different party singing a different tune now that they are in government. Now let's get to the matter of LGBTQ, right? You know, some people will say, if two consenting adults want to do whatever they want to do in their bedroom. What is our problem? Now, my brother, let me tell you what the problem is. Right. In the Netherlands, I think somewhere around 2011, right, some homosexual couples wanted to get married. And they went to the city council to get married. Where there you can do it at the city council. So they went to the city council to get married. And there was a civil servant there who refused, to register that marriage. Right? There were, mind you, there were other civil servants available that could register the marriage for them. But they insisted on this civil servant because that civil servant said it's against his beliefs. He was a Christian. It's against his beliefs to marry homosexual couple. Now, they took him to court and get him fired. And the viewers should listen. It was not because there were no other civil servants who would do the job.
So it was deliberate.
They deliberately targeted him.
Yeah.
And this is where this thing is going. So it is not a matter of just two consenting adults being in their privacy.
The ripple effect of it.
The effect
on society.
There are cases in Ireland. There was a baker, right, who accepts homosexuals and everything. I mean, he was even friends with them. They come in and all that. Now, two homosexuals wanted to get married, and they wanted to bake, a wedding cake for them. What he said is, I will serve you when you come here for anything. Whatever you want to buy, you can come into my shop, I will sell you anything. But it's against my belief to bake a cake for, homosexual marriage. So that one, I cannot do. They took him to court. Because why? How dare he say he won't bake a cake, for homosexual marriage? When you go to Canada, there are also cases where transgenders, so male who perceive that they are female, but they still have their male genitalia, they want to go and do a Brazilian wax, which are for women, and they were refused. And they pointed to where they can do male one. Again, they took them to court, and in that case, at least the court ruled in favor of...
Even when there was an option.
Even when there were enough options. So that's the ripple effect. If we don't take care, this will go to. So that's why we must be careful as a society in accepting these kind of things, in our society. And it has gone so far as even in Europe, in the Western world, there are people who are starting to kick against accepting this kind of things all over the place. And if I'm not mistaken, I think in 2023 or thereabout, the Spanish Parliament passed a law where they define gender as only male and female. So it is not only in Africa that we are against these kind of things, but over there in the Western world where people think they are trying to shove it down our throat, there are people who have started resisting these kind of things.
America
not because
did the same with Trump when he took
exactly.
office.
It's not because they are per se want to interfere with somebody's private sexuality or that's not the point. It's a ripple effect. It's what the people who practice in this activity want to get the society to become. And that is what we must guard against. So for me, this bill is very, very important. Yes, there are some aspects of the bill that I wish it wasn't in there. But if you look at it in totality, this bill is very important and must be handled with the urgency that the NDC said it requires. And if we look at what the president himself said, in 2024, he said that based on his faith, he's against it. And if it was him, he will even move it away from private sponsored to a government-sponsored bill. He's been in power for almost 1.5 years. Why hasn't that been done? They have 189 MPs. Whatever they want to pass, they've passed. So what is delaying this particular bill? So it's the hypocrisy of the NDC when it comes to these matters. That is what we are talking about.
Kwame, do you have a strong conviction that the Speaker of Parliament will be able to push this, just like he has said, so that even before whatever time he leaves office?
At this particular moment, everybody's credibility is at stake. Everybody,
including the Speaker of Parliament.
Including the Speaker of Parliament. So those that are supposed to push this bill, their credibility is at stake. Already, it's damaged. For me, already, those that were a proponent of the bill that pushed it, when NPP was in government, already, for me, their credibility has damaged because they've had so much time to work on it, but they've deliberately delayed. And my brother, let me point to the fact that, I am told, I haven't seen the document. I saw my member of parliament held it in front of public. I haven't read it yet, but I believe what my member of parliament, Reverend Intim, was saying, that even it has found its way in our curriculum, where we are teaching teachers, or we are guiding teachers, how to guide students when it comes to defining their gender. It's about how they feel, not what God has given.
That issue came up a couple of months back. In fact, we had a conversation over here, and we spoke to those who were in charge. I think it's been expounded in that they said they made a mistake. The person who went through to do the proofreading, I'm sure you were here when we had that conversation, and so that has been taken out because it was a mistake. It was a mistake that happened, and
I'm glad, my brother. What kind of mistake can go through all these?
We had that question also.
But I'm glad
that question also. But I mean, at the end of the day, they said they have done the right thing, and so most of the teachers have also been told how to correct it by speaking to the students.
Hallelujah. We thank God that has been done. But
that was weird. I mean, it was weird.
It was very weird.
Hey.
Especially when we're having this discussion. At the time that we're having this heated discussion, and for me, it's a hypocrisy. I mean, if you look at Dr. Lawrence, and how he has switched all of a sudden. He was going to, what did he say? A naked one-man protest to the Jubilee House to ensure that this is part. And now he's also saying it's not a priority. We must not politicize it. So the people that politicize this issue are now telling the country that we must not politicize it. And for me, that is hypocrisy, right there.
Very well. Thank you very much, Kwame Prempeh. And let me move on to Metal on his take on that as well.
Yeah, KMG, before I touch on the subject, let me use the opportunity to say a very good morning to our church viewers and a good morning to His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Issue of LGBTQ and the statement made by the President and then some leading members of Parliament from the NDC that they are still going to ensure, like Sam George, going to ensure that the bill is passed and then all that. KMG, when you talk about government is a system. Government is a system made up of the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. And all these organs of government have specific functions they perform. In this matter, the legislative arm of government are charged with the sole responsibility of the enactment of laws in the country. The president, because of checks and balances and the separation of powers, because of checks and balances, when Parliament enacts the law, the president must assent to the bill before the bill becomes law to take effect, so that the president might also check on the kind of bills that are being passed by Parliament. If the president does not want to assent to it, there's another process that it also follows, and he might give his reasons and then all that. How did LGBTQ plus become an issue around 2024, 2023? Parliament went through the process, the first reading, second reading, they went through the debate, consultations and everything, and then they brought up a bill. The bill was sent to the President of the Republic at the time, His Excellency Nana Addo Akufo-Addo.
Yeah.
Do you remember exactly what happened when the bill was sent to him? To the point that the Executive Secretary of the President issued a warning to Parliament that they dare not bring such a thing again to the doorsteps of the president. That is what angered well-meaning Ghanaians. That is what angered the Christian, the religious groups in Ghana. And then people started talking about it. Juxtapose that to what is happening now under the leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. What is he saying? John Dramani Mahama is saying that the very day the bill gets to his table, that very day he's assenting to the bill. The very day that the bill gets to his table, that very day he's going to sign to the bill.
This was before elections.
Even now, he said it. That the very day the bill gets to his table, that very day he's going to sign the bill.
Why is he saying that it's not a priority now?
Look at what we're talking about. The subject, even that day that he said that, look at what we're talking about. We're talking about bread and butter issues that have to do. We're talking about the roads of the roads of the country. Look at most of them in the deplorable states and then all that. And the West always have a way to corner you and all that. And then he's saying that, see, it's going through a process. It's going through Parliament. He's the executive, leader of the executive. There's a leader of Parliament. When they are done with their job and they bring the bill to my doorstep, they bring the bill to my office, that very day the bill gets to my table, I'm going to sign it. He's going to assent to the bill. So where is the hypocrisy of this government? Unlike the previous government. What angered the religious organizations? What angered well-meaning Ghanaians? What angered members in the people in the media? Where the president at the time, out of arrogance, issued a warning letter to Parliament that they dare not bring such a bill to their doorstep again. That's what happened. So if people today sit and say that the religious leaders are being hypocrites and then all that. Look at the posture of the president. Look at the posture of leading members of the NDC. Look at the posture of communicators of the NDC. No communicator, no leading member have shied away, have reneged on our promise that we are going to make sure that we pass the LGBTQ plus bill.
Yes, Sam John has been making.
So we have said that the bill must go through the process again. Yes, and the process again. There are issues in the bill that some of them must be reviewed. Some of them has to do with the incarceration. Just like my brother said over here, that how do you, even today, even without convicting and jailing people who are LGBTQ people, when you go to most of our prisons, one of the issues you have to deal with there has to do with these things.
Yeah.
When you go to our prisons today, one of the issues you have to deal with has to do with these things. So imagine that we do not look at this thing, look at this issue well, and then we go and compound the issues that are happening over there. How many people who have gone to prison, who have been convicted, so that they get reformed, will come out rather, and then they'll come and add to the menace that we have in society on this LGBTQ plus bill. Some of them need counseling. So even though we identify some of these things, looking at the bill, we are saying that some of us, I'm of the view that the punishment for some of these things should not be that we convict them and then send them to jail. There should be other ways that we might be able to correct them, or set up specialized places where we send these people and they might not even make them be together, so that we can work on their psychology and then all these things. Some people have come on the background that some of them has to do with health. If you're a male, some of them have more female hormones and then all that. These are all issues that must be looked at, both scientifically and then by counseling them. And we not renege on our promise. We are telling the people of Ghana that the NDC stays committed to making sure that we pass the anti-LGBTQ plus bill, because Ghana is a secular state. We have Christian religion, we have traditional religion, and then we have Islamic religion. All these three religions do not support LGBTQ plus. The president has stated it clearly. He does not support LGBTQ plus. And we in NDC clearly have stated that we do not support it. So when we try to bring back the things that were said under LGBTQ plus under the previous administration, where they said it is possible, it's a matter of time, but the people have not revolted enough. And then all these things, president giving signals on how to go about it, and we saw what happened. I want to say no, where they set up a club, it has to be closed down because of pressure and then all that. This current president has not said that. John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency, has told the people of Ghana again, the very day the bill gets to his table, he's going to sign it.
But the president does not have the luxury of time to do this.
The president does not enact the bills. So the day we must put pressure on Parliament.
So if it's going to take 2 years for,
so we must put pressure on Parliament. I like the sounds of the speaker, by the speaker saying that he's going to make sure that they pass the bill. So when they go through all their consultative processes and then everything, they do their first reading, they do their second reading, all the things, they look at it, and then they are done. When Parliament is done with the job, government is the system. When Parliament is done with the job, it's in the wisdom of the drafters of the 1992 Constitution that they put in their checks and balances. We could have done complete separation of powers, where Parliament themselves could have enacted the bill without needing the assent of the president. But to make sure that all laws, all bills that become law in this country are laws that inure to the good people of Ghana, when Parliament is done with their core mandate, that is the enactment of a bill or enactment of a law, it goes to the president, that's the leader of the executive, for him to sign it, and then he checks what is in there. If he does not agree, he can write back to Parliament that I do not agree with ABCD. They might look at it again. He must refuse to assent it. He might go through a different process altogether again. But this one I said that the day the bill gets to his table, I am going to sign it. So what is the discussion about it? We all agree and we all accept that our society does not support LGBTQ+. Go to most of the traditional constituencies today in Greater Accra. Go and see what is happening there. And if we do not stop this thing now, it's going to go over. Now, even if you have kids and they are watching cartoons, you are buying storybooks for the children. As a parent, you must get involved and make sure that you sit down and watch the cartoon from beginning to end before you allow your children to watch it. If you are buying a storybook, you must sit down and make sure that you read a storybook from beginning to end before allowing your kids to watch it.
Is that not the reason why this is a priority? As against what the president...
Priority of who? Priority of parliamenters at this point in time. But if this bill was at the doorstep of the president, it's a priority of the president. There are different organs of government. All of them have specific rules. Right now, it is a priority of Parliament Parliament led by Alban Bagbin, and he has stated it. It's a priority for them. It is not on the table of the president. Okay. Where the president is saying
but Ofosuku actually echoing that it's not problematic.
KMJ, if I can come in.
Yeah, I come to
you know,
he speaks for. I'm asking. No. If I can come in.
Exactly.
If you are not done,
he was not interjecting. He was actually asking. Exactly. So, but I'll come to you again, Kwame, and of course, I'm Richard as well. But I'm saying he speaks for the government.
Yes.
He re-echoing the parity aspect of it. Is that not problematic?
He's re-echoing what his boss said. That at this particular point in time, the executive arm of government, what we are looking at is addressing the bread and butter issues. There is international crisis. There's a looming issue where people
can't equally address all of those issues.
The bill is not the bill is not at the doorstep of the president. So the president has nothing to do with enactment of laws. So the one who is in charge of the organ of government that is in charge of making laws, enactment of laws, is saying that it's a priority. They are going to make sure that they pass it. It would have been an issue. It was an issue in the SOL administration. It became an issue in the SOL administration. No one was in parliament. It became an issue when it got to the doorstep of the president, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo. And when his executive secretary had the infantry to issue a warning letter to parliament and telling them that they should not dare bring such a bill back to the doorsteps of the office of the president. And they even went to court to place injunctions. So many things happen in this country. But this man is saying that the very day it gets to him, let's wait and see the day. Let Parliament finish their job. Let Parliament pass the bill. And let it get to the doorstep of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. And then let him tell Ghanaians that is not a priority. Mr. Nunu will lead a demonstration against him. But this time around, it is not at the doorstep, it's not on the table of the president. It's in Parliament. We must put pressure on Parliament for them to finish the job fast. Then let's get to the president and let's see whether he's going to sign it or not. And the man has indicated that the very day it gets to his table, he's signing the bill. There's a leader of the Assemblies of God Church, a strong member of the Men's Fellowship, a strong Christian of that matter, and has maintained his stance over and over again on this LGBTQ plus bill. And today he's president of the country. Leading members of the NDC, Sam George, Honorable Rita Doleso and co., are leading the charge. Parliament should fast track their process, and Speaker Alban Bagbin has said it. Then when they finish it, it will come to the president. We will not issue any warning letter to the Parliament House. We will not file any odious injunctions to frustrate the process. He says that what I'll pick my pen. And I sent to that bill that very day. This is the leader.
So if he gets there and an individual goes to courts to put an injunction on it, the president would what?
Obviously, we anticipate that...
Because that's illegal.
Obviously, we anticipate that there are people, ordinary Ghanaians here, who believe that this LGBTQ plus issue are the rights of the people who practice in it. Some of them might stand up and say that after the... Yes,
it happened
but then when it gets to that point, you realize that the lawyers of the president, that's the Attorney General, will go and fight
and defend
and make sure that it is squashed for the president to have his way to be able to...
Okay, all right. Kwame, let me have your take on that. I'll come to you, Richard.
All right. Good. Easy. My brother here is espousing the hypocrisy that I spoke of. Right. Now, this thing was passed by Parliament. And it was sponsored by, members of his government, who were MPs then, right? They presented this bill to Parliament. They knew the content of this bill. They passed it in Parliament. They were part of it. And then they put pressure on the president then to assent to it. The content has not changed. Now here we are. When the president and other people were, bringing concerns about some of the content of this bill, then they said it was not good enough. We have to push it and pass it as it was then. Now he's sitting here telling us there are certain aspects in the bill that we must look at. But you also did you not know that then?
You confirmed it as well.
Did it? No, we said it then. But you said it was.
It was the reason why they said that.
We said it. Wait.
They needed to deal with other issues.
We said it then, and you rejected it. And you mounted a serious protest. You used it as a campaign message on every campaign platform that you guys stood on, including the president now. The president gathered, religious leaders and told them that when he comes, if it was him, he will make it a government-sponsored bill. He's been in power for how many months now? Is it now a government-sponsored bill? Or is it still a private, sponsored bill? This is the hypocrisy that we speak of. Has the content changed? Content has not changed. Now you are sitting here telling us, oh, there are some certain aspects we must look at. So we are playing delaying tactics. So if it comes to me, I will sign, but Parliament has not approved. Meanwhile, take it away from the private citizen, make it the government sponsor as you promised, and get it passed. That's what we are talking about. If you think it was good enough then, why is it not good enough now? If you play politics with it then, when you set the people against the government then, against the president then, now you don't want the same to be done to you. Now you want to change what was in the bill. You didn't think about the incarceration of the people then. These are hypocrisy we are talking about. Okay. NDC says one thing in opposition, and now almost everything that they said, almost everything, they are tending to say the otherwise. And that's what the Ghanaian people must look at. And the Ghanaians, as the religious leaders are saying, we are not asleep. They shouldn't take us for fools. We know what they said. We know what we as Ghanaians we want. We want the bill passed as it is. Don't go and change certain things in, because you said the president must assent to it as it was. So don't go and just waste time, and then by 2028 you come and say, oh, but I don't have enough time to sign. Sign it now. They should pass it now. Don't change anything.
Okay. Now, some of the government appointees have also been speaking on this issue. In fact, the Honorable Communications Minister, Sam George, has been very, very strong on this very issue. Let's take a look at this. When I come back, Richard will have his take on that, and then probably we'll move on to the next conversation that we have.
People don't understand what this is about. Just last week, I had to help a father whose 21-year-old son had been abducted by someone who was sodomizing him as his gay lover. A 55-year-old Ghanaian, UK Ghanaian. For 3 weeks, kept the man's 21-year-old son away from him. Thanks to COP Lydia Donko, Director General of CID, who worked with our team to identify, track the number, and identify the person and rescue the boy just last week. So if you don't know what's happening in this country, you will think that there is nothing in Sam George or Fechon. But when it comes to the innocence of our children and protecting our family values, we will. And to those who say we have other priorities, this is a priority for us. This is a priority for us. Any country worth its salt can deal with multiple priorities at the same time. We are not saying we should stop building roads because we don't have enough hospital beds. We are not saying we should stop building schools because we don't have enough pipe-borne water flowing through our taps. We are dealing with our roads, we are dealing with our hospitals, we are dealing with our schools, we are dealing with water. We will also deal with our family values. It remains a priority. As for me, as the Member of Parliament for Ningo Prampram, the people voted for me. And that was one of the reasons why they increased my vote margin from 69% to 74%. They said, Sam, go back to Parliament and make sure this bill is passed. So for me and my people in Ningo Prampram, this is a priority, along with our roads, which are getting fixed, along with our health clinics, which we are building, along with our school blocks that we are building, and the water problem that we are tackling. So it remains a priority for us.
Finally, one of your co-sponsors, the other one, Anti-LGBTQ, keeps on talking about double standards and hypocrisy among this current government. What will you say to him?
Like I've said, I won't be drawn into the debate of politicization. Honorable Anti-LGBTQ signed the bill. He was the only NPP member of parliament who signed the bill under President Akufo-Addo at the time he was deputy minister, and I have credited him every single step of the way for being bold. However, when the bill was placed before President President Nana-Addo in February, he didn't call on President Nana-Addo to sign. And I understood the challenge and the difficulty he had. He should not bring us into politics. And I had a conversation with him 2 nights ago, and we've agreed there needs to be a dial down in the politicization. I said to him, I listened to his press conference, and I asked him, you said President Mahama should sign the bill. You are a sponsor with me of this current bill. You know that the bill is before the committee. So when you do a press conference and say President Mahama should sign, what should he sign? There is no need for us to politicize this matter. And so, not just to my brother and Team Forjo, but to all the signatories who have come on board now from the NPP, they are welcome. This is a collective fight. LGBTQ does not know NDC, NPP, CPP. He only knows.
And that's the Minister for Communications speaking on the issue of LGBTQ over there. I've had people who have said that the president may reshuffle or even take him out of his position. Richard, I don't know how dangerous this is for a government appointee to be speaking the way he's speaking, knowing very well that there's been a parity conversation going on.
No, obviously, these are the caliber of people who I would like to see in politics. People who can speak truth to power, regardless of the consequences. And we must do politics of conviction, not convenience. If he wants to do politics of convenience, he will be kowtowing to the statements made by the president and the statement made by the government communications spokesperson or government spokesperson. Okay, he is still vividly holding on to his conviction that that bill has to be passed and assented to become a law. And don't forget that in every law there are rooms for amendments. There are rooms for review. There's no law that we have today, even the Constitution, entrenched, non-entrenched provisions in the Constitution are still amendable. Are you getting my point? So if, for instance, the bill as in its present form, we don't do any addition and subtraction, we present it in its raw form like this, and it is passed, the president assented to it, and in the future we realize that there are some obstacles it is posing, especially with the incarceration and other aspects of it.
Yeah.
And we want to amend it or review it, it is allowed by the law for it to be done. My only conversation that I want to add on to this is that to err is human. Like I said earlier on, the president, if you do retrospection of the statement he made, that it is not our priority, regardless of the forum, regardless of where that statement was made, it still remains a top-notch priority for the people of Ghana. Because it is we, the people of Ghana, the sovereignty of Ghana resides in the people, not in the president. The sovereignty of this nation is residing in us, not the president. So we determine what is our priority, not him, the president. Are you getting my point? Therefore, we are forgiving him. We are trying to forgive him. We are forgiving him for the statement he made that it is not our priority. And even the NDC communicators, some are just doing their job, but they know in their heart of heart that that statement shouldn't have been what? Have been made. But it has been made already. Like I said, the president is a human being. So if he made a mistake, in my mind, if he makes a mistake without admitting, because perhaps in his mind, he hasn't said anything wrong.
Yeah.
In the NDC people's mind, he hasn't said anything wrong. But in my mind, I felt that he made a statement which contradicts his position when he was then in opposition. Therefore, we are only admonishing, in as much as there's a separation of power, executive, legislative, judiciary, everything is there. But like I said, the president is the head of the NDC political party, which is in power. It is not JDM as an individual who made any promises to us that when he comes, he will work on the LGBTQ. It is NDC. Even though JDM was the one who said it. Even though other members of the party said several other things. But they said these things in the name of the NDC political party. That is why even in cabinet, the chairman of the party is part of cabinet. To ensure that every decision they take aligns with the position of the party. So if the position of the party is to make sure that this LGBTQ thing should be one of the top-notch successes that we can attribute to JDM, they should make it a matter of priority to ensure it is done within the stipulated time. And the stipulated time must be between now till we enter the mid of next year. This bill should be passed into what? A law. Senegal did it. Recently, the young president of Senegal did it. So if President Akufo-Addo had done us that favor of assenting to this bill, today we shouldn't be spending precious airtime again talking about LGBTQ thing. In Ghana, when would we take a conversation, conclude on it, and take the next one? We take this one, we talk about it for a while, we put it somewhere, we go back and come back to it. Are we serious? So I think NDC should sit up.
Okay. This one over here was the words of Most Reverend Matthew Kwesi Jemfi, the president of Catholic Bishops Conference. And it says, if LGBTQ is not a priority for the president, it is a priority for Ghanaians. Parliament should not listen to the president because he does not have authority to control it. Perhaps this will be maybe the last thing we'll see on this LGBTQ thing, and then we'll move on to our next topic.
KMG, I would like to assure the people of Ghana that the NDC and the President of the Republic, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, we have not reneged on our promise to the people of Ghana to pass the anti-LGBTQ plus bill. We have not reneged on it. Now, just like I mentioned earlier, there are organs of government, and the organ of government mandated with the powers to enact laws as the legislature, that's Parliament. Parliament is going through the processes. When Parliament is done and the bill gets to the table of the President, John Dramani Mahama, is not going to waste even a second and is going to assent to the bill. The politicization of this issue, I understand. I understand my brothers from the NPP. With the way that the NDC is running the economy, with the posturing of the government and the leaders running the affairs of government. If you look at the posture of the president, very humble, respectful, he's not disrespecting chiefs, not commanding them to stand, they are not carrying chairs and land cruisers around, he's not bathing in the air, he's not renting presidential jets to go and watch football matches in Tottenham. The ministers of state and the government appointees are all being disciplined. Nobody is having lavish parties around. They are not amassing state properties for themselves. We are making sure that the exchange rate is very stable. Domestic debt exchange arrears they owe are being paid. And then all that. Ghana has literally become a construction site. When you go to the eastern part of Ghana, you go to Volta region, you go to Greater Accra, Western region, Central region, Northern region, everywhere, you can see that there's construction of roads. 24-hour economy markets are being built across many districts. They've started. Chip compounds are being built. Very soon, the health minister is come to launch the free primary health care that's going to address basic things. We are looking at ways to prevent some of the disease from coming, not to wait for the disease to come before we try to attend to these things. The Ghana Medical Transfer, aka Mahama Care, is also in the system attending to some key critical chronic diseases. They are retooling some of the major hospitals, and then all that. We have not borrowed as of now. So for the NPP, looking at all these things, these are just some of the things I mentioned. All these things that the government of the NDC led by John Dramani Mahama is doing. They are just clinging to straws and just organizing press conferences as and when they want. If you listen to the communications minister, Honorable Sam George, one of the leading members of the NDC who has been championing this, despite all the things he said that is not a priority and we can multi-combine priorities and then all that, he said that Reverend Ntim Fodro, his member of parliament, is a member and he's the only NPP MP who assented to the bill during their time. The only NPP MP who assented to the bill during their time. It's an important fact for us to establish this morning on this station. But today, several of them who retained their seats from the previous parliament, who are in this parliament, are part of the press conferences and championing that we signed them. Isn't that hypocrisy for you, KMJ? During their time, it was only Reverend Ntim Fodro, so he has the moral grounds. He has a moral high grounds to be able to comment on issues of LGBTQ. But what about the rest of them? What about their communicators? What about their appointees? Okay. They were all silent under the reign of Nana Addo and Akufo-Addo. They could not comment. But today, they found their pens, they found their microphones, and then they are speaking up today. We have not reneged on our promise as NDC. As soon as the bill has gone through Parliament and gets to the President, John Dramani Mahama is not wasting any second, and he will assent to the bill.
Okay, thank you. Now let's move on to the next topic, and I'll try and do some messages as well, and see how our folks on the other side are also saying with regards to this issue. Now, the next topic, the United States District Courts in Nevada has approved the extradition of former Chief Executive Officer of the Microfinance and Small Loan Center, MASLOC, Sedna Christine Tamako Atieno, to Ghana to serve a 10-year prison sentence. And that's one issue. In fact, a few months ago, we had this conversation about it, and we were told that there were processes, that are ongoing to ensure that this thing is done. And I know Metal is looking at me the way he's looking at me, but this should be a good news for all of us, especially Kwame over here. Kwame, this is what we've been fighting for, that we bring her back. In fact, the NPP has been saying, bring Sedna back, let her come and stand, bring Sedna back, let her come and serve a sentence. And That was when we had conversation about the extradition of Ken Ofori-Atta. Now she's coming back home to serve.
Okay, thank you, my brother. Yes, I think it's a good news that she's now coming back home.
Yeah.
But we wait to see what will happen when she comes. Right. Now, if we look at this case, again, some of the hypocrisy of NDC creeps in again. Right. When in 2021, when he absconded, when she was not to be found, we did not pause the case and say, let's wait for her to come before we continue with the case. Mm-hmm. We did not organize press conference upon press conference and then demand that, okay, she should come before we continue the case, because we knew we had a genuine case. So what did we do? We continued with the case and ensured that, she was found guilty. So when you are found guilty, wherever you are, you become a fugitive. Mm-hmm. And based on what we started, now she is coming back home to serve her time, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I keep saying the hypocrisy of NDC and the lies and the propaganda that they used when they were in opposition has changed when they came into government. Now let's look at how they've been harassing, NPP members since they came, right? Now the other party that was part of this particular case, that is, I think his name is Daniel Axim.
Yeah.
Right. He has now been granted bail because he's gone for appeal. Now he served about 2 years and then he made an appeal and then he's been granted bail. I think about 500,000, bail that has been granted to him. Now let's juxtapose this. Somebody who has been convicted, right? He's gone through the process, has been convicted, and now he's done an appeal, and he was granted bail for 500,000 cedis. Now let's look at the NPP members that were arrested. That there was no process. They had not been convicted, and the bail value that was set on them. Then you compare. Are we two different people in Ghana? Do we have two sets of citizens here in Ghana that we treat the other set of citizens differently, and then when the other citizens are involved, we treat them differently? Right. Let's look at this mine issue.
Yeah.
Now, when then Minister of Agriculture, right, Brandon Champon, when his company, not even him, his company, was involved in the Snit Hotel saga.
Yeah.
Mind you, when the company bid for the tender, he was not a minister. They started the process before he became a minister. So it wasn't that he was using his influence as a minister to manipulate the process. Now, they started the process, his company bid, and let's note this carefully. Brandon Champon has one of the biggest hotels in the world. One of the biggest. He has been in industry for years. He has a proven track record when it comes to managing hotels. Now, it turned out that his company won. What did we not hear from the NDC? What did we, as Ghanaians, not hear from the NDC when it comes to this Brandon Champon matter? They push it to the point that Brandon Champon said, you know what, enough is enough. Enough is enough. Let me just pull out. Let's just let the sleeping dogs sleep. Let me just pull out so that I can focus as a Now we have here, when we are talking about the president's brother getting these mines and the conflict of interest that is involved. When you go to the Constitution speaks as in conflict of interest when it talks even about the perception, the chance that you'll be able to influence the situation. Not that you have the perception that you'll be able to influence it. That in itself should be avoided. Now here we have a sitting president who is driven around in an official car by his brother. Who his brother, and even the law talks against accepting gifts from businessmen, or even accepting gifts in your capacity, as a public officer. Now here we are, the president himself accepting gifts from his brother. He's flying him around the world. He's paying all sorts of bills, for his brother. And he then tendered for this particular mine. And you want to tell us that there's no conflict of interest. You want to tell us that those that are on the tender committee are not being influenced. When then it was a minister. And what did Okudzeto say? He said, do we expect that the tender committee will speak against the company of a minister? Now, NDC is telling us that we should expect that a tender committee will not do the bidding of a sitting president, his brother. These are the hypocrisy that we are talking about. And Ghanaians are starting to see through these things. You know, I keep saying, you can lie your way to government. You can say all sorts of things. But sometimes NDC forgets that they are in government now. They still act like if they are in opposition. All these things that my brother mentioned, we are doing this, we are doing that. And it's a lie that they have not borrowed. The Minister of Finance came and said that they borrowed 17 billion to pay. Is that also? Didn't the minister came? Honorable Akufo-Addo. He said last year they borrowed 17 billion to pay for salaries. Now my brother come and sit here and say we have not borrowed. I mean, what are you doing to yourselves? Why are we selling lies to Ghanaians? Like I said, the records are there. If you are in government and you continue to do propaganda, it catches up with you very, very easily. You know, and all these performances that my brother is saying, let's look at what is happening. Last week, VIP went from 120 to 150. Price of rice have increased when you compare 2026 to 2024. The prices of air tickets, they've slapped a tax on it. Now, if you are flying from Accra to Kumasi, Accra to Tamale, they've added the tax to it. When you are flying to Europe, you are paying more than $100, I think about $150 extra, just because of the tax that have been slapped on it. And the painful thing for me, even when you are dropping somebody at the airport, what used to be 10 cedis is now 20 cedis. So everything has increased. The prices of utilities, we are in an economy where we are told that, how do you call it, the dollar is down. We are told that the CPIs, all the indices are down. But where we are, where the prices are increasing at 20%, 25%, 30%, government services by itself, here, when you go to get any government licenses, when you compare with 2024, it has increased between 30 to 40%. Any government service that you want to go and take now, when you go there, you compare with 2024, it has increased 30 to 40%. Now, these are some of the things that we say, okay, we are looking at the indices, but the average Ghanaian is not feeling it. When you go to the port, now duties are more than they were in 2024. The dollar is down, and the charges at the port are supposed to be based on the dollar. So if the dollar is down, how come we are paying more at our ports? How come we are paying more in our everyday lives? So yes, you can present a very nice picture to the people, but the Ghanaian people, the normal people, knows that the everyday lives is now hard. That life is not as it was in 2024. Okay. Everything has increased.
Richard, let me have your take, and then I'll take that of...
well, as a matter of sincerity and honesty, without any prejudice to anyone, I don't sincerely think that the era preceding the coming of the NDC government was anything much better. Our life was virtually on a, what do we call it? We were on a fast track to self-destruction. Because the path which NPP was taking us was on a very fast lane to self-destruction. And the coming of the NDC may not salvage the entire situation, but it has come to put a brake at the speed at which we were heading towards self-destruction. Because you see, it got to a point where we were overburdening the revenue stream of this country. We were spending more than we have. And any country that your expenditure outweighs your income, you are heading to disaster. You create a serious pandemonium where others have to come and find a solution to that problem. So on this issue of Sedinam, a district court has ordered that she should be deported to Ghana. But don't forget, it doesn't end there. The U.S. Secretary of State has to take the final decision, irrespective of the district court approving her deportation to Ghana, because there are merits in the issue submitted before them. The U.S. Secretary of State has to take the final decision as to whether she's coming or she's not coming. That one we do not know yet. Again, when NDC took power, they discontinued several cases which had to do with their old members. They filed a lot of nolli prosequi by the Attorney General saying we are discontinuing cases. Look at the aura that was around oral. The aura that was around oral has dwindled off. The synergy, the energy, the desire, okay, by the public to see something coming out from oral has completely died down. As we speak today, we don't know how much government has been able to recoup for us through the oral team. As we speak today, yes, there are some cases that are pending before the courts, but as to how they're going to be fast-tracked, as to how we're going to bring it to a final conclusion, to know that the case has gone through all the processes and has been decided upon. That is what the Ghanaians are also looking up to. Not to say that, oh, who to me is in the court. This man is in the court. That man is in the court. We've sat in this country where people go to court during the first year of a government and the exit of a government, and still the cases are pending before the court. So all I'm asking, that Ferdinand's coming into this country, assuming that she finally lands in this country, are we not going to see all manner of machinations by the NDC government? Because don't forget that a case can be tried, verdict given, can be appealed.
Yep.
So even if the High Court that found her guilty and convicted her for 10 years, obviously Ferdinand has the medium to appeal it if she comes to this country.
But that appeal cannot be on bail because she fled. She's a flight risk. So I hope that we are not going to see bail in this issue. Because this person is a flight risk.
Yeah, so let's
so that is another issue.
That is something that I'm anticipating. But you have to start thinking against it.
In as much as she's a flight risk, they can tell you that, oh, maybe we have seized her passport. We have put some caveats on her. Or we have put some.
That's the part that Kwame does not want to see happen.
But like I said, the law allows that.
No,
now we say
the law allows.
But they could also, it could also use that as a strong issue.
That's why I'm saying that every offense in Ghana is bailable, including murder. Are you getting my? But as to whether it will be granted by the judge is another subject matter. Are you getting it?
Will be very
I was emphasizing the machination that you were talking about.
Oh, I agree with you. That's what I'm still coming back to.
That bill. I mean, that would be
what my brother is saying.
Yeah.
Is a potential. How do I
potential situation.
It's a potential situation. The likelihood that it will happen is there. Are you getting my point? That's why when he's saying about they putting a restriction on her, but they shouldn't grant her bail, maybe she should be in custody, whilst maybe she's going on the appeal. Are you getting my point?
Yeah.
But they can still put together a solid legal team and give justification as to why she should be given a bail. Okay, they can even fight for what? House arrest. Now instead of you being in Isawam, we are going to detain you in your own house. It is also allowed by the law. Are you getting the point?
Yeah.
So, all we are saying is that let us build a country where anything you do can be used to serve as a deterrent to what? To others. So if Ferdinand, we've done all the processes, we've done all the things we can do to bring her to Ghana, and we only bring her to Ghana to come and pamper her, then are we going or we are coming? Exactly. As they will always ask. So if NDC wants to prove to us that they meant well and they really want to use her as a case study to serve as a deterrent to any other person, that when you manage this country and you flee and we bring you back, we are not going to spare you. Just like Ken also served as a former finance minister and is still struggling. I wonder what is wrong with Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta. When you were wearing the white, when you were quoting all the biblical verses, when you created the impression that you were holier than thou, you were too holy, you were too clean as an individual, that you were not even taking salary. You created all this falutin impression that you were not even taking salary because you love Ghana more than yourself. Now they say come and account for your seed worship. You are gallivanting around trying to protect yourself by not coming to this country. So what kind of conclusion are you expecting us to draw? Are you getting my point? Yeah. So all we are saying is that the Attorney General should not make any attempt to throw dust in our eyes. And I'm sure even the NDC people, at least they would love to see steady now serve some time, because the mass law is meant for the informal sector, and the informal sector of the Ghanaian economy is the engine of the economy.
And it's suffering.
The informal sector is suffering. Money that is meant for small enterprises. You give them 10,000 here, 5,000 here. You collected over 1.7 million cedis and absconded with it. You collected several millions of cedis and bloated it. You collected money and you wanted to give somebody 24% interest. The person said they will not pay. You collected the 500,000 cedis and blow it without accounting for it. It is the caliber of people we want to serve in public service. If these are the caliber of people we want to serve in public service, then Ghana is going nowhere. Because don't forget that it is the people of integrity, people of conscience, people who have the tenacity to put the country first above their personal interest. These are the caliber of people who are fit to work in public offices. So if Ferdinand was just a mere politician, he had an opportunity to serve as a CEO of a government entity, which is Maslock, because Maslock is an establishment of parliament. Isn't that the case? So if Maslock is an establishment of parliament and they appointed you as the CEO to serve that Maslock, which is more or less like a venture capital system, giving money to the smaller businesses to grow these businesses to become businesses that they can also employ sufficient number of people, why would we want to do away with this money as if there is no tomorrow? We spend this money without any prudent management. We spend this money without any proper cost-benefit analysis to understand that this money that we are wasting around, if we plow it into these other productive sectors, what could it have brought on the table in terms of creating jobs? So from an understanding now, we are welcoming you into Ghana. We will welcome you with a lot of pomp and pageantry. We will welcome you at the airport. We will mobilize the NDC folks. We will go and welcome you. We will print Ghana flags. Go and welcome you. Welcome home. But the money that you spend, we will make sure you pay back. And if you pay back, you must pay it with interest. Any money that has been disbursed or misappropriated by Madam Sedinam Tamaklo, she has to pay with an interest. If she doesn't pay, all her assets, all her properties, everything, because this one is not about a presumption of innocence. You have already been convicted. Yeah. So if that is the case, everything that she owns, we should convict it, even including the bed she sleeps on. Everything she owes, let us confiscate it, so that we must make corruption very, very, very unattractive in this country. Because we believe that when it is A and you do it and you deal it around the issue, when it happens to B, are you going to use the same measurement to measure? No. So if it is about setting up, let the laws bite her so hard, so that at the end of the day, nobody will want to do this. But we are pleading with Attorney General. Those who have been able to give them bail on 500,000, I don't know the gravity of his case. I don't know how much he was accused of.
It's the same
I know,
case.
Yeah, he was the deputy, he was chief operating officer. Obviously, he didn't have the capacity that the CEO has. But as a matter of fact, maybe they connive, and conspiracy is also a crime. So if, as a matter of fact, he has been granted bail, I don't know the merits of which he was granted bail, that I must admit. But we are only asking that when said the NAM come, after we receive her with the pomp and pageantry at Kotoka, the Black Maria should be waiting, patiently waiting. After we receive her, we pour the powder on her, straight into Black Maria, straight to Isawam.
Okay, let me do some messages, and then I will take Metal's submission on that. Abdul Ganiu Makaguru on Facebook sent in this one. It says, "Good morning, KMJ. This is Abdul Ganiu from Savannah region. If the president and the NEC truly respect Ghanaians and want to be honest, they would have already sent the LGBTQ bill to Parliament under a certificate of urgency. Nanado's failure to sign that bill played a role in the decline of Dr. Bawumia's votes and contributed to the NDC's victory in the 2024 elections. Now it feels like they they are misleading Ghanaians. Promises are being made but not fulfilled. It is only a matter of time before people see this clearly. If this woman returns to Ghana and is not sent straight to Nsawam prison, then I'm waiting to hear what any NDC foot soldier will say regarding the Ken of Oriata matter. We'll see whether President John Mahama will intervene. If he grants a pardon or even reduces a sentence by just 1 day, similar to what happened with Agrada, then he would once again be labeled as a corrupt president. All right. Dr. Senyando says that, of course, your MPs being the majority in Parliament has a hand in the delay of the bill. It was in this same country that some months ago you were on the then President, His Excellency Nando, to pass the bill no matter what was in it. So what do you, the NDC, want to change again? NDC Chai. Dams Mohammed says, why is it that the NPP always use the word hypocrites as if the word hypocrisy is a new word from heaven? Kojo Prempeh says, so you wanted Akufo-Addo to sign, meanwhile you are admitting that there are issues such as incarceration and all that. I think the host must ask such critical questions. Yawasifi says, you see, I don't understand them arrogance. And Kofi Ketekre says, hello, good morning. How are you doing? My name is DJ Ketekre of Sankore Infantine. Please do all the fantastic, great job. Please keep it up. Okay, we get you. Thank you. Upon Jeffy says that now the same hypocrite men of God who almost demonstrated against the previous government are telling us that we shouldn't politicize the same issue. Imagine men of God behaving like NDC communicators. Kelvin Opokukusi says the show is live and colored inside here overseas in the Kwabre East constituency. Greetings to the National Youth Organizer and the incoming National Organizer, Salam Mustafa. In SM we trust. Okay. And Charles Listowala Jakwa also on Facebook says, NDC guy is empty with facts. Albert Edujefi says the hypocrisy of the NDC is very worrying. The sweet-talked Ghanaians to power and now deception is glaring on faces of Ghanaians. Greetings to the incoming National Organizer, KP. And Kojo says, this guy is quite objective and speaks sense than some Fafranto guy I know. And now I'm a boy. Okay, so he's referring to Richard.
Is it what?
He says, well, you were quite objective and you speak sense than some of a Fafranto guy I know. Silas Kujo, a lot of messages on Facebook. Silas Kujo says, ask this propagandist, when did Ibrahim tender for the ownership of the mining company? And he says he's saying nothing sensible to Ghana and he's just busting arrogant. And well, Kojo David says, sudden extradition approved, justice wins abroad, but will politics undermine it at home? Very big question mark over there. And it's one of the things that Richard and Kwame have spent time speaking on. And it says, first, the court had to satisfy itself that it possessed proper jurisdiction over the fugitive and the authority to conduct the extradition proceedings under 18 U.S.C. 3184. On this element, the court found that it had both subject matter and personal jurisdiction over Sedina Atieno, who had been properly arrested in the district of Nevada pursuant to Ghana's formal request. The court further held that the magistrate judge was duly authorized under U.S. law to conduct the extradition hearing and issue certification. Second, the court examined whether there existed a valid and a subsisting extradition treaty between the Republic of Ghana and the United States of America. The court found affirmatively that the 1931 extradition treaty, as continued in force between the United States and Ghana, together with the United Nations Convention Against Corruption, remains fully valid and enforceable. In reaching this conclusion, the court relied on the declaration of the U.S. State Department and emphasized the long-standing judicial principle of deference to the executive in matters touching on foreign relations and treaty recognition. And he goes on and goes on. I mean, that's a long education on how the process went and the arrival of the extradition of Sedina. So yeah, I'll come back and read some of the messages that you've sent to us. There are some on Facebook, on WhatsApp as well, that I'll try and read. But let me take the comment of Metal, and then I'll do some of the. Let me finish with Metal, and then I'll do some of the comments on WhatsApp. Yeah.
Corruption is a canker that we must not support in any form in our society.
Absolutely.
Corruption is something that deprives the good people of Ghana so many social amenities that they could have gotten that would have made their lives better. Corruption is something that discourages hard work. You are here, you wake up very early, you get to the studio, you are doing your hard work, even on Easter, you are still working, and then all that. And then you are working to get your pay, you are doing your side jobs. You see somebody who is always seated at home and is not really doing anything. And then within a flash, puts up mansions, buy luxurious cars, and then all that.
Soft life.
Yes, so you ask yourself, what job exactly is the person doing? You see somebody that you know that hitherto did not have even a bicycle. By way of political party coming to power, you realize that the person gets lots of mansions, all of a sudden gets a lot of money, and even to the point where they are, apart from amassing wealth and buying all these luxurious cars, to the point where even in their wills, they are able to will portions of forest to their descendants forever, for them to take it. You see people who, in divorce cases that did not have, were living in chamber and hall, and their party comes to power, and all of a sudden they've bought several mansions. And we saw all these things from divorce proceedings that were going on under some appointees of the S1 administration and now the Akufo-Addo. When you see some of these things, it discourages hard work from the youth. The amount of money that could have been used to complete La General Hospital, just behind us over here, that served the good people of some parts of Teshi and Osu and all that, has gone into the pockets of individuals and deprived lots of people from being able to use that money, that amenity for general well-being is disheartening. So I and the NDC, we do not support corruption in any form. When you look at the character of President John Dramani Mahama, and you look at, the Jida case, it is the only president in the Fourth Republic that has tried to prosecute an appointee of his, who is a member of his parliament. There was one that happened under Kufo with the sports minister, I've forgotten, is it Malamisa or something, but Malamisa was not a member of the NPP. Malamisa was a member of the another political party and was given an appointment over there. So I think that he was sacrificed. But for somebody, Abu Gapeli's issue under the Jida, where the president himself at the time started the case against his own member of parliament, we saw the issues that happened with bus branding, where they were made to refund the money when it came out that the prices were too high, the amount of money that they use in the bus branding. So you look at the character of the president, and this is a person who has been a former vice president, was a former vice president, became a former president, and when he was a former president, in the Airbus scandal, subjected himself to state authorities for them to investigate him. And at the end of the day, the investigation came out that he was squeaky clean. There was no iota of corruption on him. So when you talk about the character, you talk about the political will of a person to fight corruption, you cannot shy away from His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. And we're seeing it today. Said in Atamaklo's case, not like the way my brother said it. When the case started, she was in Ghana. She was charged when she was present in Ghana. The case started, they went to court several times before she had bail and left the country. The Kenofurata case that he tried to link it to, Kenofurata is not around to even be charged for the case to start.
Oh.
But Sedina Tamakolo's case, Sedina was in Ghana, and the case was started when she was in Ghana.
But you can start without the person.
The case was started when Sedina was in Ghana. And later she was granted bail. But no, so when the members of the NPP, I've heard them saying these things. When they try to link the issue of Sedina Tamakolo and Kenofurata and saying that the case can be tried when it's not around, somebody who was even around and the case started and then she was granted bail has gone and the case has been convicted and she's still there.
But the conviction is there.
Kenofurata's intent.
The conviction stands.
The Kenofurata's intent clearly shows you that this man is running away from justice. This is a man that celebrated. This is a man that celebrated at the forecourt of the Ministry of Finance.
Try him in absentia.
Water and club and jollof and things for going to borrow money. This is a man that under his watch as Minister of Finance.
The man
old people who had invested money in bonds of the government of Ghana were dying. Some of them had stroke. Some of them, their high blood pressures were so high. People came in wheelchairs to picket at the forecourt of his ministry. You've done all these things, and we are calling you to come and account, and you're not coming. So we are saying that look at the character, look at the persona, look at the political will of the political party in power. And the NDC does not shy away from it. I would advise Madam Senator Maklo, and I like the fact that the NPP is seeing exactly what is happening. That even though it has gone through the process, we triggered her extradition process for her to go to Ghana.
You did not trigger the process.
Extradition process.
You did not trigger the process.
At our time, were you able to achieve this feat?
No, but you did not trigger it.
Were you able to achieve this feat?
It was already started.
The case was dead. You are not following up.
You did not
because
trigger
you yourself had corruption in your cupboard. And you did not follow up. But we, the NDC, have shown that we have the political will.
Let's base things on facts.
We have the political will to fight corruption.
Let's base it.
And we have gone this far. We've gotten her arrested.
But you wouldn't want to give credit to somebody who began a process.
Exactly.
You began a process. You don't do anything about it. There's political will.
But it's a process.
There's political will.
It's a process.
We made sure that she was arrested. We located where she was. She has been sent to court. Court has given an order. The district has given an order for her to be extradited to Ghana. But it's left to the secretary of the state to make sure that they sign and then she comes. When she comes to Ghana, there's another legal process that would have to be gone through. And the fact that she has been convicted by a competent court of jurisdiction, that's the High Court, does not mean that the matter has come to its conclusive end. Senator Maklo, under the rights that she has a right to appeal. And the grounds on which any court will grant an appeal is not only on the fact that you are a flight risk. The court will look at the fact that whether you have a permanent place of abode. The court will look at the fact that whether you are a flight risk, whether you have a permanent place of abode, whether you are a first timer, we look at your status in the society. There's so many things that the court look at. There are grounds on which a court determines bail for an individual. So if my brother bases the fact that Senator Maklo is a flight risk, we don't even know the conditions under which she was there. We don't know the reasons why she was there, whether she was there on health grounds and then all that. So we'll leave that to the courts. I'm not a judge, and I'll not decide to be a judge in this matter. But then I know that the rules of this country is going to allow us to go through the process. So I stated clearly that a political party that has the will and the political party that has the character, the persona to fight corruption is the National Democratic Congress. And the NPP have the temerity. The NPP today have the moral grounds to talk when we are speaking about corrupt cases. I don't blame them. And I support what my brother said. The NPP is talking about corrupt cases today because most of the monies they've looted and the oral investigations that have gone on, these people have not been prosecuted. And Dr. Dominic Ayine, the Attorney General of this country, because of the slow pace of the way the cases are proceeding in court, the NPP today, they have the guts, they have the temerity to sit on national television to be commenting on corrupt issues. These are people that we saw broad daylight. Philly Gadoji.
That's right.
Philly Gadoji amassing and stealing from the people of Ghana. And because they've not been convicted 1 year, 3 months, and almost 1 year, 6 months in power, they come on national television and have the temerity to talk when we are speaking about corruption.
To be blamed for that.
And that is why I'm saying that Dr. Dominic Ayine and the Deputy Attorney General, Dr. Sremsai, they should fast-track the cases. They should fast-track the cases. Because we campaigned on the grounds that we're going to recover all loot.
Yeah.
We're going to recover, at least let's see signs. 1, 2, 3.
People are mocking around.
1, 2, 3. Today, the special advisor to the flag bearer of the NPP, Wontumi, and the aspiring national chairman of the NPP.
Since when is Wontumi a special advisor?
And the special advisor to the flag bearer of the NPP.
Let's speak the facts.
And the aspiring national chairman.
Since when is Wontumi a special advisor?
Wontumi is not a special advisor.
He's a confidant and an advisor of Dr.
Let's speak the facts.
Wontumi says that in his campaign.
He is not a special advisor.
But he's what? Aspiring national chairman.
Officially, you and I.
He's an aspiring national chairman and a confidant of the NPP. And a confidant of Dr.
But he's not a special advisor.
So he's a confidant.
He is not a special advisor.
As a confidant, they talk about things in confidence. Okay, he's a confidant. And as a confidant, when they are indoors, they are able to give themselves advice, obviously. So who to do advise Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia? That's what I'm saying.
So which corrupt case?
So he's a confidant. And who to me, aspiring national chairman. Today, he's even working
which corrupt case?
And have the grounds to be going to campaign.
Which corrupt case?
But you have
which corrupt case?
You have the power to investigate and also.
That is why I preceded that statement by advising Dr. Dominic Ayini, the Attorney General, and the Deputy Attorney General, Dr. Srem Sai, that's the pace at which the cases are proceeding in court. It's what is giving these elephant brothers of mine the temerity, the guts, the impudence to be talking about corruption when we are talking about corruption in Ghana today. Unlike the NDC government, that the leadership and the president have shown by persona, by character, by political will, that we will fight corruption yesterday, we will fight today, and we will fight it tomorrow. The persona of the president, who has been a former vice president, who was the former president, subjected himself to state institutions for him to be investigated. And you think that this man will come and show anybody where he himself went through a full-blown scale investigation? And the investigation came out that he was cookie clean of no corrupt scandal. We have brought the process of Senator Maklo here today, and she must come to Ghana if she has any answers to give, any legal redress to be able to use. When she comes to Ghana, she should go through it. But then we are saying that she must come to Ghana, she must be brought to Ghana to face whatever justice she's supposed to face. And whatever money
she gets to Ghana, what happens when she gets to Ghana?
When she gets to Ghana, we know, understand, and we all admit it. That's the legal process. In the legal process, there are so many options available to her. There are so many options available.
You are preparing Ghanaians' mind.
There are so many options. I'm not preparing. You've also mentioned it. There are so many options available there, and I've mentioned the grounds. And I've mentioned the grounds. And I've mentioned the grounds on which bail can be granted. And it's not only on one grounds that the person is a flight risk. There are other factors that are considered. I'm not preparing Ghanaians' grounds, Ghanaians' mind, but I'm telling the people of Ghana what the situation is. And we will make sure that we stand for the people of Ghana, recover the monies that have been looted by corrupt people, and make sure that we use the money judiciously to benefit the people of Ghana.
All right, let me do some messages. I'll come back and then have your takes on that. I understand that we have enough time to speak on these issues today. So yeah, this one says, good morning. Please tell NDC government that they have messed up in all sectors, such as the education sector, health sector, employment sector, salary increment sector, energy sector, and agriculture sector. Today, NDC government has messed up and created an evil monster in recruiting teachers and nurses by not following the year you finished first, but jamming the recruitment for all year groups, which is leading to corruptions. NDC government has broken all their promises and they are heading into opposition, and nothing else will save them. And this government is failing woefully, and nothing they can convince Ghanaians to renew their mandate. Dr. Bawumia should prepare to take over the reign of the country. That's from Joseph in Upper East. This one says that KMJ, this NDC baby with sharp teeth is a lawyer. He knows that a man can only be pronounced guilty by a court of law. He should be more civil. KMJ, please control the show. You are in charge, please. All right, thank you. Another one over here says, dear KMJ, welcome back. The LGBTQ plus saga is worrying because President Mahama has proved to be inconsistent and flip-flop by saving the issue or saying the issue of LGBTQ is not a national priority. KMJ, tricycles in Okada bill is still waiting for presidential assent. There is mining ongoing in the Miriwa Forest Reserve for 4 years in the Bibiani and Shoyaso, the Kwame municipality in the Western North region, and it's still not attended to by, but you have promised to make a follow-up. Mohammed's administration fight against Galamsey is not encouraging at all because NDC members are involved in the Galamsey menace. Good morning, Charles. Good morning to Charles Champon. Okay, Charles Champon is Jebre in the Bibiani and so the Kwame municipality in the Western North sent in that, and Charles has been complaining about the issue of the mining that is ongoing over there. I think a couple of weeks ago, the spokesperson for the ministry was here. I don't know if that conversation came up, but I'll try and find out. Hadi in Pay Farm says, good morning, brother. In fact, sometimes if you listen to the level of corruption and stealing that took place under the watch of Nana Addo and his vice, Dr. Bawumia, one was just no, Mother Ghana was a crime scene under the leadership of the Nana Addo and his vice, Dr. Bawumia. They just came to create, loot, and share, saying Dr. Bawumia will be president of this great nation called Ghana. It's like deceiving yourself that a castrated he-goat can still make a female goat pregnant. Good morning to Dr. Ibrahim Mahama. All right, let me go to this one over here. And it says that Good morning, KMJ. Who in his real sense will seek to suggest that the Ghanaian economy is stabilized when we all see is passing all manner of hardship to the ordinary Ghanaian who is struggling to pay high electricity bills, high cost of fuel, school fees, teachers and nurses who are painful, waiting for employment, etc. The NDC communicator in the studio thinks that we are all having short memories, like him and his peers. What is happening now is just a matter of time. We have indeed sold our color TV for the black and white TV, as this bio from Dafiama Busi Issa constituency in the Upper West Region sent him that. Let me read this from Master Planner Junior Policy Analyst Kintampo, and he says, what is my bro Nunu talking about? He's enjoying in government. I like his Jerry and a boy. But can you imagine? About Papa, President Mahama promised to change the LGBTQ plus from private members bill to government-sponsored bill since 2025 till today. That has not been done. That clearly shows you that President Mahama is no longer interested in the LGBTQ issue. I can confidently tell you that even if the parliament passes this bill and forward it to the president, he will not sign it. Just give time, some time. Master Planner sent in that. Let me go to Samuel Boache in Asaman Kese. It says the current administration led by Mahama seems to operate with blatant hypocrisy and double standards, doesn't it? It is intriguing that issues concerning the LGBTQ community, once considered a priority for Ghanaians, now seem to be treated with varying narratives. There are allegations that certain pastors are allegedly paid to support the administration regardless of its flaws. Looking at the NDC's campaign promises on Galamsey, LGBTQ plus cocoa prices and fuel prices, the reality today is starkly contrasted with their rhetoric. And what does the future hold? The NPP's return to power in 2028 seems increasingly likely, regards to Samuel Osei Sarkodie, Eastern Regional Youth Organizer, hopeful. All right. Gaston Brekum says, why would politicians always want to defend everything? Is it for greediness? The NDC communicator must bow their heads in shame. You can run, but you can't hide. And that's from Gaston Brekum. And let me go down and see what we have here. This one over here says, good morning, Joy Prime. NPP has no moral rights to talk about LGBTQ plus since they had 8 years to sign the bill but refused and now shed crocodile tears. How can NPP claim to hate LGBTQ plus when they take funds from UNFPA to do comprehensive sexuality education in 2019? Again, the anti-gay bill was anti-gay bill was passed in February 2024, but they failed to sign and hid behind the court to buy time. Again, NPP's finance minister wrote a letter to warn government not to sign the bill for fear of losing financial aid after writing to Speaker not to send the bill to the Jubilee House. Indeed, the court ruled on the bill on December 18, 2024, but still refused to sign it before leaving office. How NPP love and hate LGBTQ after promising that it's bound to happen in Ghana. All right. This one says, good morning. Good morning, KMJ. Please tell the NPP people to spare our ears in this country. We don't need them in this country again. Thanks. Robert Yankson in Cape Coast sent in that. Another one over here says, good morning, Joy Prime. I think I've read this one. Good morning, KMJ and panelists. I'm Big Alasko from Garu, Tempani, and my greetings to all the youth in Tempani constituency and Honorable Joseph Mbela, DCE of Tempani. At times, I feel sad when I hear the NPP people talking about the LGBTQ matter. During their 8 years in power, could not pass it into law. NDC and President Mahama are barely 1.5 years in power, and they are trying hard to pass it into law. Hypocrite NPP. Never again. For the extradition concerning Madam Sedina Tamako, Ghana to serve her sentence is a good thing. I hope Ken Furiata will follow soon, because alleged crime against the state committed by Sedina and Ken is vastly different as compared to that of Ken. And for that matter, Ken is needed in Ghana more than any other person. Every person that has been involved in that corruption, activity is needed back in Ghana to serve their time. It doesn't matter how grave which one is from what. I mean, if you spend the people's money anyhow, you have to come back home and account for it. Whether it is $1 million or it's one city, you have to account for it. This one over here, let me see. It says, good morning, Mr. Hall. Sometimes when NPP communicators talk, it looks as if they were not in Ghana from 2017 to 2024. What is the NPP communicator talking about? Has he forgotten of the hardship they meted us into? Has he forgotten all the lies they peddled? Please tell the NPP communicator that we are no more children and we saw what happened in the time of the NPP. Ghana was seriously in tatters under the NPP government, and Ghanaians actually suffered under the super incompetent Akufo-Addo and Bawumia today. And President Mahama is changing, and Ghanaians can see the difference. NPP never again. Chairman Olabode Williams from Nima sent in that one. This one over here says that the NDC man is diverting from what is on the table. He should stop the propaganda. Akash Zabre sent in that, and it says, I personally forgive NDC for doing the politics with LGBTQ when they were in opposition, but the NDC should be bold enough to apologize to Ghanaians for that. And same person sending that. Let me read this one. It says, good morning, Joy Prime. Please ask the NDC communicator for me. Did he think we are in the colonial era? They should sign the bill into law. NDC use LGBT to campaign in 2024, and you have won. Sign it. They should stop the unnecessary noise and sign, because we already know NDC have nothing good to offer to the good people of Ghana. They failed all their campaign promises. Eric Bayo in Techiman South sent in that, and he says, this NDC guy there doesn't deserve to be. Okay, hold on to that. Let's not attack a personality. Speak to the issues. Good morning, KMJ. I think the president must come again on his comment on LGBTQ. He actually did not express himself well on this occasion. His choice of word has cost him his attack. The content of the statement is not as what he believes in. The earlier he comes out to clarify issues, the best for him and the party. Stephen Opoku sent in that as well. Another one over here says, good morning, KMJ. Please ask the NDC man whether he knows the number of bills NDC passed in the midnight in Parliament with their numbers. They should use the same numbers to pass the bill midnight. No wonder they are giving all our bauxite gold, in fact, all our minerals to President's brother. God is watching them. Anyway, let me see how we can wrap up on this conversation this morning in this segment as well. I'll start with you, Richard. We'll wrap it up.
Oh, okay. Well, the only thing I can say to conclude is that we have a country to build. And it's a collective responsibility of everyone to ensure we build this country devoid of excessive politicization of certain key sectors of this country's economy, which is supposed to be a top-notch priority. Now, you know there's a conversation around the Iran-Israel-Russia war, the rippling effect on petroleum prices today. You know how we played politics when our former vice president set the precedent for asking how can external factors leave Burkina, how can they leave Cote d'Ivoire, how can they leave Nigeria and come and attack only Ghana? That set aside, the president today, when he was in opposition, also went to make similar statement. How can bombs that are flying within Ukraine and Russia affect us in Ghana? Today, the narrative has changed. Where global logistics in terms of fuel transport has again crippled. It has started to bite us hard. But then I would like to commend the government for holding the fort so far. I see fuel rationing in other Asian countries. People have started to hoard a lot of fuel because of the panic buying. But now I would have even thought that petrol should be selling around 20 cedis per liter. But petrol is still selling around 13 point something by Star Oil. Others are still doing relatively less. Diesel average is also not doing too bad. So if the government can be able to hold the fort so far, that we have not started fuel rationing, we have not started hoarding, we have not started panic buying, then we need to commend them. And in as much as we try to commend them, as a country, we should look into building shock absorber. That is why we have something in the Constitution that is called Directing Principles of State Policies.
Okay.
That gives you institutions that are supposed to envisage, plan, and think about how we can protect our interests as a country against external shocks. But if we are constantly playing politics with aspects of our economy, a time will come, we will not even have the mouth to talk about the politics again.
Okay, Rich.
So I'm only appealing to everybody to come on the table so that we can build this country. But NPP, NDC, they don't have what it takes to radically transform this country. Let us give another political party the opportunity. We are a centrist party, so we can bring both the right and the left together to forge a common front to build this country. But if the left thinks what they are doing is right for them, the right thing what they are doing is right for them, where do we build a consensus to have a common front that we can all say to ourselves that within the next 10 years, we want to refine at least 80% of the petroleum products we use in this country by Thor.
Okay.
That is how civilized countries plan.
We're pressed for time, so let's try and do it quick so that we can go.
All right.
Let me have a take on that as well.
Thank you. Before I go to my last one, let me correct the wrong that my brother stated here. That Bawumia came to say that things that happened elsewhere.
No, but there's a video circulating on.
What he said, it was about Ebola at that time. When Ebola was happening, Burkina Faso was not affected. Cote d'Ivoire was not affected. Countries around us.
So it was not referring to.
No, he talked about external factors.
No. Like it was a specific external factor. It was Ebola at that time. You can go and check. So what he was saying is that those factors are not affecting the countries around us. Why is it affecting Ghana? Now let's forward back to the war in Ukraine. It affected every single country in the world. So those statements are not the same. They're completely different. Okay, now let's move on. Now let's go to the substantive matter that we were discussing today. Right? Now, NDC behaves as if they are still in the position, right? They came with the aura, trying to balloon the value of the so-called corruption that has happened under NPP. They spoke of $21 billion that they were going to, recover because NPP people have stolen. Now, fast forward. Let me be specific on this day. Fast forward in October 2025. That Demolition, who was part of the committee, the oral committee, came out to say that the oral numbers contain garbage. That is a member of the committee that was speaking. Now, do they contain garbage? Let's look at the numbers. What is involved in the oral? Now, part of the oral, right, that they were talking about $222 million that was used to build the Bank of Ghana head office. So they say somebody has stolen $222 million. My brother, if you go to Raise right now, has the office not been delivered? So are you going to confiscate that building? Or what are you going to do to recover that money? Who has stolen that money? It was a project that has been delivered, duly delivered. Now you add it to the number of corruption that has happened under NPP's government and tell Ghanaians that you are going to recover $222 million whilst the building is standing there, whilst you, the NDC, have moved in and you are using that particular building. What are we talking about here? Let me give you another example. They said that NPP has stolen 80 billion Ghana cedis, which is about $7 billion US dollars back then. And what they said is that because Bank of Ghana has printed money to support government, business, so it means somebody has stolen that money. Please, what are you talking about? Who are you going to recover the money from? And since they came to power, last year they printed money to support, the economy. So are we going to say that they've also stolen money because the Bank of Ghana has printed money to support the economy? These are the things that we are saying that, you cannot do propaganda in opposition, come to power and continue with that propaganda. It will catch up with you. Now, my brother is sitting here appealing to the Attorney General. And what did the Deputy Attorney General say? That oral contained garbage, he said himself. So it's going to be difficult to recover that money that they're talking about. It's not that they're going to start the process and do proper investigation. But NDC continued to speak about oral, continued to speak, and people were stealing left, right, center, while basing their arguments on something that is garbage. And they want to shove it down the throats of Ghanaians. What are we talking about here? Let me give you one last example. That'll
be the last one, and then Neto will also have his take.
Let me give you, let me leave this. There was 190 million PDS. Now, this money was supposed to have been given to Ghana if the process has continued. The process was truncated. So it means somebody has stolen the money. The money never even came to Ghana. But this is one of the cases that they've mentioned that somebody stole 190 million. Now, let's go to the matter. My brother is saying that you have to look at the lifestyle of people when they get into government and how much they are spending. When we started the program, and I'm glad, he praised A+. That A+ is an exceptional MP, that people should emulate him. A+, this month, said he knows a lot of NDC appointees, that immediately they came to power, they bought state land, and now they've completed, within a year, they've completed that. That's the person he was praising on video. So are we going to say that NDC have started amassing wealth, NDC have started looting? That's what my brother is trying to tell us. Right. Now, before we end, you see, I don't agree with Honorable Ken not coming to Ghana, but I understand him. Let's look at what happened with those that were arrested under Ghanaians, under NDC, the NPP people that were arrested.
You think the same thing will happen to him when it comes to Ghana?
Yes, that one's going to be more. Like I said, this particular person has been convicted. He has been given bail of 500,000 Ghana cedis. Somebody who is merely accused was given bail of 50 million Ghana cedis. Look at the contrast. He spent 6 days in jail because he couldn't raise the funds. 50 million Ghana cedis. And he has not even been convicted. The matter is not even in court. Abronye merely insinuated that the IGP has done something. He was in for how many days? About 2 weeks or so. So do you tell me that if he can, he should come? If I were him, I might not come.
Okay, very well. Thank you, Kwame. Let me take the last one from
I don't understand why the elephants cry foul to some of these things. You know Gregory Afogo? You know him? Somebody who a court even discharged him, and they still held him in custody. They defied orders of court and held him in custody. So when the NPP is crying foul, they should go back and check their cupboards, check the skeletons that they have in their cupboards.
So you are doing the same?
They should check the skeletons they have in their cupboard. They have no moral grounds to talk about some of these things. The NDC have maintained that we are not practicing a kangaroo justice system. We are going to ensure that everybody gets a fair trial. Some of the bail conditions that have been set to some of the people that have been granted a bail, it depends on the gravity of the cases or the offenses that they are charged with. And then the bail conditions that comes with it. For somebody like the confidant of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, that's chairman known to me, aspiring national chairman of the NPP. And if you look at the conditions of the bail condition that was set for him, he was given money to construct cocoa roads. We never saw anything about it. He destroyed forest reserves, mining, anyhow, helter-skelter like that. So for somebody like that, you see that the bail condition. But for somebody who has gone to steal a goat, or a fish or something, the bail condition is also going to vary. It's going to be lesser. So these are things that the legal systems look at before we grant bail. Sometimes if you are not a lawyer or you don't understand what happens in the legal world, you might not understand some of these things. There are one MPP people who have also gone to be charged with court with offences that their bail conditions were not as high as some of these ones. I want to tell Ghanaians, Mustafa Ahmed's bail condition was not so high like that. It was not so high like that. So I'm giving you an example. I'm giving you an example.
It was still higher than 500,000.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying, that it depends on the offense that the person is charged with. I want to appeal to the people of Ghana and tell the people of Ghana today, the NDC is committed to delivering on the campaign promises that we gave. The NDC is committed to fighting corruption. The persona and the character of the president, it shows that he's going to fight corruption. Anybody, even within the government, that we have an iota of information that is engaged in any corrupt practice will be dealt with this government.
Okay.
Be rest assured and that we are going to govern this country to make things better. The NPP is not a political party to trust. For people who can will a forest to their descendants forever, don't trust them.
Okay, very well. Thank you very much. A big thank you to Meto Nono Jr., communications team member for the NDC. Richard Suma,
condolences to, I think, a footballer. Is it
Frimpong? Yeah.
Their bus was attacked,
yeah,
and he was gunned down.
Yeah,
you know, when are we going to ensure safety of our footballers? When are we going to ensure safety? These people like this, can't they be given any police escorts when they are traveling, especially in the night? Because they are in the Premier League for that matter. So how should a Premier League bus be attacked and a player gunned down?
Yeah.
These are conversations we should have, please. Their life needs to be protected.
I read it yesterday, and
condolences to the family.
What team is that?
Brekum FC, the Premier League team.
They were attacked.
Yes.
During
it's an armed robbery attack, and then he was gunned down.
Yes, our sincere condolences to the family of Kwame Prempeh, and he was a Ford. Yeah,
he could be the next Asamajan.
You know. Anyway, thank you, Richard. Thank you, Kwame Prempeh, for coming through as well. This morning, I really appreciate your time here. A big thank you to Franco Trading Enterprise, Still Phones, Papa Fie, and please make sure you go and grab your phones, your gadgets from them, and you would enjoy quality.